YouTube. It has been a minute. I have been taking this year really slowly and really enjoying my time with my kids and my family. And we've gone on quite a few weekends away and holidays, traveling by plane and also a few different trips, a 3 hour trip south and a few other weekends back to back with things going on. And so I've really just been taking this year slow. And I have an eclectic array of people in my life. And this question keeps coming up around women and work and the consequences of our time, and also versus, if we have children, being away from the home or having our concentration away from our children and our home. And so my beautiful little people are currently having naps. So I'll see how much of this I can share while they're doing that. And yeah, I love being here on YouTube and sharing things. For me, this is a diary for when my boys are older, and anyone interested in all the things that I have learnt. And for anyone that does human design, I am a projector. I'm also a mental projector. So it's a unique little combination of things I have. I also have the leader and the hermit together. So I love spending time at home, learning and sharing. And I think that's a big part of my gift. And so I really enjoy using YouTube as a platform to share that information, especially when my boys are so young. I have a 3.5-year-old currently and an almost 2-year-old, and they have been an absolute blessing to my life. And I think that's one of the reasons that this is such a predominant question, that about whether or not women should work, because I couldn't imagine being away from my home for long amounts of time when they are so young. And I know a lot of people choose to put their children in what we call in Australia daycare, and having someone else take care of them while they work. And yeah, I personally couldn't imagine doing that. I know everyone has their own journey and circumstances, but as a mum, for me, I feel very grateful that I have designed my life before I had children so that I wouldn't have to be a woman that had to go back to work when her children were still young. I've heard a lot of women feel the need to go back to work through boredom or uh, because they need something else to do. And for me, that couldn't be further from a feeling for me. I enjoy spending time with my children so much. And I know it's a big part of a lot of different cultures where women aren't expected to go back to work when kids are so little. Uh, it is their job, their responsibility to raise little humans. And there is a theory that under the age of 3 is a really important bonding time for children. And so these children that are going back to uh, being held by someone else that's not a parent before they're 3, there can be a lot of trauma later in life for those children. And so I think this is kind of one of those topics that's a little taboo as to whether women should work. And I feel like work is when you don't actually enjoy what you do. You're doing it for an external reason that doesn't feel good. So, my husband and I have conversations about women we know who have gone back to work, and it's really uh, affected their marriages. And for me, it's like, what's the point of being in a marriage if you're letting external circumstances affect that, such as going back to work? And I also, I believe women, I mean, times have changed so much. We don't have the same structures. Fortunately, I do know a lot of other countries still have these structures where women were really taken care of and were seen for their value in the home. And so it wasn't a necessity to work. And so fathers and uncles and brothers and husbands were providing for them to allow them to have the choice to be with their children. And I really believe women are the heart of the home. So if women aren't happy, then children get affected, society gets affected, your husband or your surrounding family gets affected if you are not happy uh, in yourself as a woman. And so for me, I had a very different path. I always knew inside of me that a career was not the thing I needed to do to prove myself. I don't need to prove that I'm as good as a man, that I need to make millions of dollars. Um, I mean, millions of dollars is definitely there, but as a goal and as all of that. But it's not what creates ultimate happiness. They say that anything over $70,000, which I don't know if that's a true figure today, but if you make anything over that in your household, that your happiness doesn't really change. And so, what I'm seeing is a lot of women having to make sacrifices for their health, for their time with their children, for their children's development, for their relationships, in order to make money. And that money is often going to pay for a mortgage and uh, maybe for their own personal desires. But for me, as soon as I was able to make money, I did it for fun. It was never because I had to. And I always held the belief that money can come from anywhere. And if you want to use the word manifestation whenever I needed it, I just called it in and it was there. And not because I'm specifically lucky, although I believe that I am very lucky and very fortunate. I'm no different than anyone else. I just have really strong beliefs and values about time and not trading that for something I don't enjoy. I do feel like I do believe that women's hormones are very different to men's hormones. And so this is from a female's perspective of everything I've learned and understanding. A male's drive and need to work is very different to a woman's. I just feel in this Western society, we're not actually asking ourselves the question of, is it worth it? I put this on my Instagram last night, really questioning if something is worth it. Like, at this time of life, is something designer worth it when you're sacrificing time with your children? Is your relationship worth not having over having a mortgage? Are there other ways around it? My background is in kinesiology, and we do a specific method where we think of all the different possibilities of your current circumstance. So if you are renting and it's really expensive, and both partners need to be helping pay that rent, together, thinking of all the different possibilities out there so that you don't need to pay that rent, or you're living differently. So maybe you go to another country, maybe you find remote jobs, maybe you buy a bus and live in a bus so that you don't have those huge overheads. But I think this is a really important question also, is it worth it? What you're doing currently, is it worth your time? Is it worth the energy you're exchanging? Is it worth your life force? Is it worth it to you, the sacrifice? And this is my question around women and working. And it really, something happened recently where a person in my life who was female, who was in a relationship, who had children, actually died after childbirth. And from my understanding is she was working right up until the end of her pregnancy, and she had a lot of demands on her as a woman, and it really hit hard in a really strong, beautiful way of what women are sacrificing. A lot of women are sacrificing their health and their mental and emotional health in order to have it all. And I believe women deserve and can have it all, but not necessarily all at the same time, uh, all at once. And women need a lot of space in order to create and manifest and be able to serve those around them. And when women's hormones and their sleep and their health aren't being regenerated, it's really affecting the whole of society. And so I knew from a young age that was not my life, that was not my focus. My focus was my health and my joy and learning and understanding myself and the world. And as a kinesiologist, which is the study of human movement, I deeply went into my own psychology and the psychology of my parents and my grandparents and my great grandparents and all the things that don't serve me. But I made the time and I made the space, and I was very creative with how money came into my life. And I'm in a very fortunate situation now where my husband does provide for me, and I also have other sources of money and finances and wealth, but I do them all with fun. And I love going down a deep rabbit hole into something, whether it's in investing or spirituality or motherhood, relationships, whatever it is. I like to go down that deep rabbit hole, but as soon as that isn't feeling good or it's taking away time from my beautiful little people, then I stop doing that and I move on to something else. Or, like I've done this year, I've really spent a lot of time helping my children develop their skills and their little lives and being there for them. And I think when they're ready, they will become more independent. They're already very independent, but when they no longer need me to be there all the time, that's when I feel like I can really deep dive into whatever extra brings me joy. And I wish for every woman on the planet to have that choice of when and how and why. And my children do allow me to work on my own projects, and I still have clients and that sort of thing on the side, but it's in a beautiful, natural way that isn't scheduled and rigid, and I get to choose who and when and why. And I share a lot of things like this. This has been one of my creative outlets. And that's what I think, because children is such a creative force in itself. You literally hold creation in your belly, and all the energy and the nutrients that takes to create amazing humans and to be there for them. That creativity does flow on, but not at a sacrifice for me. I look at all sorts of ways to keep wealth and being able to nourish my own world through, beautiful clothing and luxury um, and makeup and personal care and all of that sort of stuff, that even if someone's partner wasn't able to provide that, I still believe women should have access to that easily. And so I have the strong belief, and that's what I teach women, is that there are so many different avenues. And to all the moms, I've seen some moms that are just, they look really undernourished in their soul and in their bodies and in their minds and emotions, and it's affecting their kids because they're not creating these energies in their lives to really know that there's a different way. Like, motherhood doesn't have to be hard. Being a woman doesn't have to be hard. We're not meant to have horrendous periods. We're not meant to be taken advantage of. We are meant to be honored and cared for. And women think that they're the only ones that can care for others and the only source of nourishment to other people, to the detriment of their own families. And I think society on a whole is really undernourished because women are sacrificing too much. And it brought so much sadness to my heart to have someone die a year younger than me, and that for whatever reason out there, that was her journey. But it did highlight how much women have to carry, and a lot of them think they have to carry it on their own. And the communities of women just aren't as whole and nourishing out there that I have seen. And maybe that's not something I'm personally attracting into my life, and that's why I'm not seeing it. But it's more faith-based people that I'm seeing who understand how much the woman is the center of the house and the center of the world, and putting more and more on responsibilities on her, how detrimental that is to the family unit and to society. And it's almost like we are scared of death or running out of time, because it's like we have to do everything all at once. And I mean, I tell myself this all the time, to slow down, and that there's plenty of time. And even though you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, it's worth enjoying it now. And it's going to be a huge societal shift, but I do feel as though we need to start at home, and as a woman, finding that space to work out whether it's serving us or if it's a sacrifice, and to know that there are other ways. I do have a little masterclass of the things simple tricks that I've learned along the way that really help me to nourish myself, and I do all of those principles inside there all the time. especially when I'm laying my two boys down for their nap, there's a particular method in there that I use to just draw everything back to myself that I have left in places, and that has been huge and life changing for me. So if you're interested in that, there should be a link to that below. And yes, I would love for you to say hello if you want to, or feel free to gently and positively stalk me in any other way if you would like to learn more. But I do believe we as women deserve to be well nourished and have a beautiful life. And if you want to watch any of my other videos, I had both of my boys easily. My first son I had accidentally at home, and yeah, I live my life very differently to most and see the world quite differently to a lot of people. So if you're interested in some different thinking and not the status quo, feel free to follow along and subscribe. So thank you. I will see where my time flows and if I feel called to do any more videos in the near future. But otherwise, thank you for your time, and I would love to hear from you.